back with the Trust Talks podcast from insurtech Insights, hosted by Clearspeed. I'm your host, Danny Ngsikwan. We're exploring the notion of trust as a competitive advantage in the Trust Talks podcast. Like, what are the drivers to greater efficiency, profitability, and consumer loyalty? And how does all of that ladder back to trust? Joining us is Alexis Cierra Vaughn, founder and CEO of Offcourse, an insurance and insurtech expert and advisor. Alexis, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
I'm going to get right into it with you. I know I'm very excited to hear what you have to say. You know, insurance is a for-profit industry. It's a business. Where do you see money being left on the table by insurers you work with, what you've observed in the industry, and what can we do to address this?
Well, the number one space that I've seen where money's being left on the table is there's not enough innovation in the life and health space, like that long-term care, even in that retirement space too. There's so much opportunity for innovation there, and everyone is just running towards PNC. And I get why they're doing it. I mean, that's where a lot of the investment dollars have been going traditionally, but I just saw a Gallagher report that actually pointed it in a different direction. Now people are starting to see more funding come in that life and health space, which lets me know that there is still opportunity there and they actually want to change in the life and health space. I know that the process is going to be much longer because you have so many things to overcome, HIPAA regulations, all the different questionnaires that you have when it comes to life and long-term care and disability. But I think it's really important that we not just innovate in one part of the industry and forget the rest.
Absolutely. And consumers are not like a one and done in a certain area either, are they? You know, they're kind of going across the gamut in terms of what they're looking for from insurance.
Yeah.
And when we think about that innovation, I mean, where do you see more specifically some of the opportunities in that life and health area?
Well, I've seen it a lot in life insurance. Number one, I'm starting to see like one or two. I hate when I can only name like one or two companies that I know that exist in a particular space where they're adding on riders to life insurance. So I've seen one around adding like IVF coverage to life insurance.
Yes.
Which, I mean, we really need people to have more life insurance so they can stop doing GoFundMe and crowdfunding and in Alabama where I'm really from, fish fries.
Yes.
To raise money when someone passes away. I think if we find more unique ways to make life insurance more attractive by adding things and resources that people actually need, and also making sure that we're still keeping it affordable, but showing them that affordability piece there.
Yes.
And we can leverage innovation to do that. I've seen companies who are embedding life insurance at very unique retail processes. So now when you get your mortgage, you can actually get a life insurance policy in that process the same way. I feel like we just need to do a better job of bringing insurance specifically in that life and health space to people where they are.
Yes.
And we just need to find a shorter way to do it than these long life insurance applications. Like, it's the same with a cyber application as it is with a life insurance application. It's gonna deter people away from wanting to actually get the policy if they feel it's being extremely invasive and they have to do a lot of work on their end. We're the ones who are receiving the commission for it. So we should find a way to actually leverage that technology and still leverage the agents and brokers and make their lives easier as well on getting and obtaining that information, but also even helping with that customer experience when it comes there, especially even on the claim side. Like, it shouldn't take someone months to get an actual claim paid out to them, whether it's in life insurance or disability, just because our process is still pen and paper.
Right.
Like, and sit fax machine. That drives me completely crazy that we are still faxing things in 2025. Like, I need you to make it so easy for me to make a claim. And it also is going to help with our issue that we're having in the insurance industry with, our perception and how we're perceived is that we don't want to pay the claims. Well, when you make it super hard for someone to actually get access to the claim for the policy they've been paying on, it's going to give that perception off. So I feel like if we leverage innovation, make that customer experience and that journey so much easier and seamless, then we're going to actually help our own issue when it comes to marketing the insurance industry.
Absolutely.
So where we're not the big bad wolves.
Yes. So much to dig into here. I'm going to first, let's turn to the consumer trust aspect, because you were talking about, perception as one piece, thinking about the customer experience, meeting customers more where they are, being more holistic, perhaps, with what the offering is to reflect today.
Yeah.
But, consumer trust has taken a hit. It has, whether it is true or not in terms of how insurers are operating. There is that echo chamber of perception, the marketing, like you said. I mean, how can we rebuild that trust?
Well, number one is going to be making sure that people actually understand what they're getting through and through. There shouldn't be a question where I don't really understand my policy until I file a claim.
Yes.
And that is where the issue, where trust comes in, because then people feel like you pull the wool over their eyes when you didn't really tell them everything that is not covered in the policy.
Yeah.
You talked about the things that you felt were important to the client, about what they think should be important. But I think it's really explaining the little details, because they're going to find that out the hard way, which is going to make us look bad at the end of the day.
Yep.
That, hey, like, you probably, and this is something that I think about when we deal with a lot of NFL players' wives often, right? So we're always advising them in the insurance cycle, like, in it just in their insurance overall, like what it looks like for their policies. We're like, hey, these are times where you should consider if your insurance will cover things. Should I have a pool party at my mansion this weekend and invite 150 people that I don't know? Will insurance actually cover that? They never think of things like, what if someone decides to sue me or use this as an opportunity to get over? Will insurance actually cover this? We need to turn away from being salespeople and focus on being trusted advisors. Yeah. And really understanding and building those relationships with our clients to really know who they are and like how we can better serve them in more of an advisory capacity, and not just throwing policies at them and selling and upselling and cross-selling, things like that. Meeting them really where they are and giving them the advisory that they need in this insurance journey.
Being the consultant truly to, and what's the strategy for our use of insurance today makes a lot of sense. And it's come up quite a bit in our conversations this week. One, the marketing aspect of it, we need to tell a better story, but there is a big educational component where, we're not educating our consumers enough perhaps on what is possible and what is available to them. So I think that's an amazing point.
Absolutely.
And then let's take the trust lens from a different perspective, because you were talking before, about claims. There is still fraud that exists as well. So and there's also, fine, consumers can trust their insurers. We get that back. But then insurers also do have to trust their consumers and make sure that the information they're getting is in fact accurate. So what could it mean if we're thinking about changing the system? What could it mean if insurers could more confidently trust the information they were getting from their consumers, whether at point of application or, underwriting, renewals? What would that mean for processes, for business, for people?
So I think, number one, if we actually are not the people doing it, where it seems like we're picking and prying and asking a lot of questions.
Yes.
Because people are now used to technology, they won't see the tech as invasive as they would a human.
Yes.
Who's picking and prying and saying, well, did you really lose your BMW? Because I'm going to see that it's condescending and that you're trying me right now.
Right. Yeah. Of course. And it's not a vulnerable time.
Yeah.
Like, and in fact, if it's a genuine claim, do you want to be asked in that way?
Do I want to be asked, am I actually committing fraud right now? It's like, you have to think about, maybe this is an opportunity where we know, and we've seen in the history of how our claims team has handled these type of processes, that they just don't have the level of empathy that is needed, because the human aspect comes in and automatically starts, doing all the extra stuff that's unnecessary in that customer experience piece. Let's leverage the tech, because they're going to answer those questions. And I love a good opportunity to plug Clearspeed, because I'm always like, listen, please, like, leverage this type of technology that can identify the fraud for you, so that you don't have to do it. You don't even have to be in the process. You give it the questions that you want to ask, and let the AI and the technology actually detect that fraud for you. Yes. And I think that's probably going to be the best way and the best approach for us to be able to really get the data that we need. Yep. So that we can trust what we receive, Then we'll know if we need to follow up. Maybe a supervisor who has a better level of empathy should follow up with this person and ask them additional questions. So that we can really get down to, should an investigation be put into place, or is this just an actual claim that we should actually be paying out because the client is being honest?
Yes. And in those situations, I mean, to continue specifically on the Clearspeed example, that is an example of, let's clear the genuine claimants faster, so then you can focus on the ones that maybe a little more questionable, need to, have some questions. But it's also the thing we like to talk about too is when it comes to data and tech, like it's a moment in time data point. And, sometimes so much tech or so many models are built on historical data or demographic patterns or things like that. And that brings a bias in as well, which is also not helping our consumer, and I'd love to hear your thoughts, on that, and kind of what good risk data could look like if insurers are trying to do better by their customers and also improve their processes.
Yeah. I know from an old school insurance perspective, we've always heard about neighborhoods being redlined. This is what comes to my mind when I think about this.
Yes.
When we know that certain zip codes, certain neighborhoods are redlined, so they're going to get lower insurance coverage because of where they are located.
Right. Yep.
Like, we really have to find a better way to do that. Because you can't base the fact that, I'm going to give you an example. My grandparents' home had been there. It's been there. They built that home before there was anyone else in the neighborhood. So maybe 3-4 homes, and it's maybe 60 years old. But then maybe 20 years later, they decided to build a project, a home that is specifically going to bring high crime now.
Yes.
You can't adjust her home insurance based on what the city or the state decided to build in her neighborhood.
Right.
Like, we have to do better, because now you have to look at it as, no, she actually needs more protection now.
Absolutely.
Because now this has forced her to live to basically position her home into more of a high risk area.
Yes.
And it's not something that she could have controlled.
Right. And it's the answer is not, well, now you have to move.
Yes. That's not the answer.
And also, I was here first. Yeah, I established my life here. Okay, so thank you very much.
Exactly. So that's what I think about. I'm like, we really have to do a better job of finding different ways to do that. Especially on the auto insurance side, like where people are finally coming to get insurance, but we're penalizing them because they haven't owned a car in the last year or 2 years.
Sure.
So they haven't been on insurance.
Yes.
Well, we can't penalize them for that. That's going to make them want to drive around uninsured.
Right. And hope for the best.
Yes. And hope for the best. And they're probably the ones that are running away at the scene of the accident.
Yes.
Because they're like, I know I don't have insurance because the insurance that they were willing to give me was unaffordable because they penalized me.
Absolutely.
For not actually owning a car in the last 2 years. That's beyond my control. We really have to ask more questions.
Yes.
And really figure out a way to like truly dig into that and figure out, okay, how can we do better here?
Yes. And so I want to ask you, but before I even ask you a wrap-up question, I mean, it feels like, being here, having these conversations and, companies that you work with as well, folks are aware of this. Mm-hmm. It feels, but there is an inertia, perhaps? Like, what's the barrier to kind of making these changes? And again, everything is easier said than done, of course.
Yeah.
But
great.
What's
the barrier is the education.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm always gonna say that.
Yep.
It's always the education. Just like we educate our employees, we need to actually educate our consumer on what it is that we do cover, what it is that we do not cover.
Yes.
We don't need to hide it in 150-page declaration and a policy where no one's going to read that.
Yeah.
But me, I'm the insurance nerd. I read through my whole family.
Sure.
Everyone sends me their policies unwarranted, and I have to help them through this process. Yeah. I become that claims advisor when everyone's going through the claim. I don't want to have to tell my aunt in Florida that she should call her insurance commissioner because her insurance company declined her, even though they knew she lived right by the beach this entire time when they actually insured her.
Yes.
So it's things like that. We have to educate them, let them know exactly what we're here to do,
Yeah.
and that we're actually here for them and that they're not just throwing away their money.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, this is a relationship business. And I think we really have to keep that at the core in the center, even in surrounding it with innovation will really, really make a difference.
It's a beautiful picture that I can see right now. So considering everything we've talked about today, for the senior leaders listening to this, is there something that you would say, a key takeaway, or something that you think they should really be doing right now, something you would implore to the industry, like, well, straight up?
Yeah. Number one, actually, you have to educate your employees so that they're not fearful of the technology as well that you're implementing, because we don't want them to fear the insurtech.
Yeah,
that's a chapter in my best-selling book, Insurance Distribution of the Future, an interactive training guide for agents and brokers. But seriously, though, I have been asked to come and do a keynote by multiple carriers just to talk on how important it is not to fear the technology craze that's coming in, this new innovation, because it's so important that they learn to work alongside it and upskill and reskill this talent that they have, so that we don't have to worry about the talent gap and we can just leverage technology, and then people can actually learn how to work alongside it. So if you're teaching your people how to do that, that is going to be the key to success of any technology implementation or integration within your workflow.
That's it. Absolutely. And I think there's the part of the big innovation and the excitement, but then it's also bringing your people along.
Yeah.
And something else that a couple of folks have said is it's not just up here, it's the end users. Show them how this will change their job, make it easier for them, and also provide the resources to do that upskilling instead of kind of leaving everyone to,
Absolutely. Absolutely. They don't want to read about it on text on the screen, which I'm going to be talking about in a little bit.
Excellent.
Yeah. So make it interactive, make it fun for them to learn about this technology and how it's integrated into their everyday workflows. Make it exciting, because it is. Like, for insurance to go from being so manual to having all this tech integrated so quickly has been amazing to watch.
Yes.
It is. I'm excited about what's to come.
I love it. And we'll leave it there, Alexis. Thank you so much for being here. Alexis Cierra Vaughn, thank you.
Thank you for having me.